Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Macklin from Chattanooga Ayurveda.com. And today I am with Amanda Dillard, who is That Elderberry Lady. And Amanda is a health coach and the creator and owner of elderberry products that she sells at thatelderberrylady.com. And I'm happy she's here with me. We're going to talk about health and elderberry and Ayurveda. So should be a fun discussion. Amanda, what more would you add to that introduction?
Whew, I mean, that pretty much encompasses most things. I grow my own herbs. I also homeschool and just, trying to live that natural life as much as I can. So, yeah.
That's awesome. um, well, I wanted to ask you about elderberry itself, because in Ayurveda, we are using ingredients that come from tropical climates. So, and we're also relying upon texts that are thousands of years old. And I haven't seen any Ayurvedic literature on elderberry. So I'm curious what it's used for, who's using it, and what you appreciate about elderberry.
Yeah, elderberries are really cool and they grow wild um, in many parts of the world and have been used for centuries for many different ailments. I actually first stumbled across it here locally. I go forage for herbs for my family all the time. And I like to play around with identifying different things that I find. And I stumbled across elderberries one day. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take it home, see what I can use with it. And I actually tried to make an extract the first time I used elderberry, and it worked out really well. But that was an American elderberry, and there's many different varieties of elderberries that all kind of have the same medicinal properties, but at the same time, they're very different too. Anyway, so my family started using it for like cold and flu season. I used it when my kids had RSV when they were very young, because it's generally safe for most people. So I thought, yeah, we'll use this, and it helped us get over that. Within 48 hours of taking it, we were symptom free. And I thought, oh, wow, okay, this is really cool. So I started playing around with different herbs and making my own elderberry syrup. And I started making it for a few friends, and that kind of started That Elderberry Lady. And now we've got clients, all over the country that use it for not only, supporting the immune system and cold and flu season. Elderberries are really cool because they can also help the body self-manage blood pressure and blood sugar issues as well. They're very heart healthy, great for our cardiovascular system, and they actually help to reduce bad cholesterol in the body, which is really cool too. They're very high in dietary fiber, which we all need more of that. And they have so many different minerals and vitamins in them. They're also really great for our brain health because they're packed with different minerals and things that our bodies need to function properly. So it's something that my family has used on a daily basis for years and years now. And I just kind of fell in love with it because it's not only super beneficial, it tastes amazing too. And why not be able to have something that tastes good and is actually good for you? So it's possible.
Yeah, I agree. Not always do we have something that tastes good and is good for you.
Right, right.
Yeah, sometimes in Ayurveda, sometimes we need something of a different taste in our mouth. So taste is very important in Ayurveda,
Mhm.
and we recognize six tastes, from sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, astringent, and it sounds like elderberries are sweet a little bit.
They have a small amount of sweetness to them naturally. I would classify them more in the pungent realm of things. If you just ate just elderberry juice, that would be a very pungent flavor. They have a little bit of sweetness, but really not much,
Hmm.
which is one of the reasons when we make our elderberry syrup, our most popular one is sweetened with honey, because the majority of Americans like that sweetness. So that's, that's our way of being like, okay, we're going to make it sweet, but it's still going to be good for you. But elderberries themselves have kind of a pungent, little bit of a bitteriness to them.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pungent and bitter foods have certain actions according to Ayurveda where they help, how can I say, they help like clean up the body of toxins. They have some sort of cleansing action on the body. So that's really interesting. And
Absolutely.
honey is very highly regarded because it has a scraping quality to it. So it can be actually beneficial in situations where there's an increase of weight. So you can still have that sweet taste, but also have that scraping quality to the body systems. So that's kind of the unique factor of honey.
Yeah, that is really cool. Honey is awesome. It tastes good, and it is very good for you. You can use it all kinds of ways. I mean, we've even put it on wounds and things like that before for its antibacterial properties. So having that in conjunction with elderberry is a good mix.
Yeah, I've done that too. Used honey for wounds, and it is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it for a face mask too.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
Yeah.
Do you mix it with anything?
So we do a rose infused honey with That Elderberry Lady. We have a whole line of herbal infused honeys, and the rose infused honey is the one that I always use for like a face mask. But you could use really any kind of honey and mix it with all kinds of things to use as a face mask. But I just like the rose infused because it really adds like an astringent property to it. It helps, even the tone of skin and that kind of stuff too. So that's what I use.
That's wonderful. I was looking at your website earlier today, and you were mentioning like how the current medical system here in the U.S. Is really doing a lot of masking symptoms, though it's necessary medicine for a lot of different reasons for a lot of different people. It is just sort of putting a band-aid on the symptoms that people are experiencing. So it's something I see in my clients who are on pharmaceuticals, that they are that their symptoms are sort of suppressed, but the underlying issues are really not being addressed, and health is not being restored. So I was wondering what your experience of that was like.
So I have many clients that are and have been going through this for years. Western medicine is needed for many things. Like if I accidentally chop my leg off, yes, take me to the hospital. I want to go there. But for many other things, you're right. It's a lot of the times medical doctors, and I'm not going to knock medical doctors because this is what they're taught in medical school, is you use pharmaceuticals to mask symptoms. And it's very rare that you find a Western medical doctor that's like, okay, let's look at the root cause. Why is this happening? And my personal experience with that goes back a very long time with my own health journey and thyroid issues. I was diagnosed with thyroid issues at the age of 18. And at that time, I was raised in a very, I would call it a mainstream household. So if you coughed or sneezed, you went to the doctor and got antibiotics, and that's, that vicious cycle continues. So by the age of 18, I had an overactive thyroid. So I went to the doctor, as I had always done, and they said, okay, well, let's, the only thing we can really do is either surgery or you can radiate your thyroid. And I didn't want to have surgery as an 18-year-old. So I was like, let's do the other thing. I don't want to have surgery. So really what that did was killed my thyroid gland, but the doctors never even addressed that something else could be the cause of that. So my thyroid imbalance was a symptom of another root cause. So the next 14 years from then until now, and I'm still on my healing journey because those never end. It's a lifelong, journey to find health. It's been, me trying to undo the damage that was done and, reduce continued damage and, really work on healing. And I'm happy to say that, for the first time in 14 years, I have thyroid function again.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, our bodies are made to heal if we support them and allow them to. And I was told that that was impossible and that I could never do anything like that. And I'm still on my healing journey, and it's definitely not over. But I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel that I actually have thyroid function again for the first time in 14 years. So that's, that's again, the medical system didn't tell me that, maybe changes to my diet and lifestyle could have helped things, or, being more intentional with how I spend my time, or finding more joy, or getting more sleep. I was never told that that could affect my health. I was told that, you're going to need to either have surgery or radiate your thyroid and take a pill for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I went along with that until it really affected me, where I couldn't, do my day-to-day tasks of just being a human being. And I got tired of it and fed up and decided that, I was responsible for my own health.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad that you have your thyroid function again. That's just incredible. That's so wonderful.
Impossible, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you've been doing the right things and giving yourself health, and that's part of living. And I like that you said that this is a lifelong journey. It really is. It's every day we have to do things to create health. It's not like we get to a point where we're healthy and then that's it. We can do whatever we want. It's every single day of our lives.
Mhm.
We have to create that health, and we have to do the right things for ourselves. So yeah, that's just really wonderful that you got to that point and experienced that milestone.
Oh, it's been a long road, but it really has been, me getting to the point to realize that every choice I make and every action or inaction is either healing or harming me in one way or another. And really, coming to that realization was huge for me, because, sleeping in and not working out, or, eating Doritos or whatever it is, every single choice that you make has a huge effect on so many different systems of your body that are all interconnected. And I tell people, because this can be overwhelming for the majority of the population that know very little. Excuse me. This is my third interview today. Or meeting. The majority of the population don't really know these things. So for my clients that come to me that, are very, mainstream and have no idea about it, I tell people, I'm not here for perfection from you, and you're not here for perfection from you. It's all about progress.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, if I would have went from, living a very unhealthy lifestyle to overnight, trying to be this picture of health, it would have been very overwhelming for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a very lifelong journey, and it really is, changing the way you think about your health and who's responsible for your health and your decisions and your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And really just, battling that on a day-to-day basis gets exhausting. So really one small step at a time creates these huge leaps in your health. So just those very small steps and taking one thing at a time and having that mindset is huge for people's healing journey.
Yeah, it's so true that every small step you take just does so much for you. It's really incredible. And then if you continue those small steps, like over time, you look back and see, wow, I've come so far. Look what I've accomplished. Look how much better I feel. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Small steps is the way to go. And yeah, with my journey with Ayurveda, I learned about Ayurveda when I graduated from college, and I was looking for holistic health, I was struggling with my digestion. I was having anxiety and panic attacks, and I was trying multiple things and really felt like I wasn't finding the answers. I finally met with an Ayurvedic practitioner, and he gave me some unique remedies that I know I wouldn't have found elsewhere. And they just, like, the panic attacks went away, and the anxiety reduced quite a bit. The digestion got better. Um, so that was the start of my journey with Ayurveda, and I'm really grateful that I found it. Um,
That's huge.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's so cool because a lot of people that are in, holistic healing, natural medicine, that kind of stuff, have their own healing journey that they've been through. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's a huge part of helping others, is having your own healing journey and working through that in your own way to be able to share that with other people. And
Mhm.
I think that's so cool. I went to health coach school with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and there was a whole module on Ayurveda and the Vata and the Pitta and the dosha and all the things. So I'm a huge believer in Ayurvedic medicine, and I think that is a huge part for a lot of people in their healing journey and can be super beneficial.
Mhm.
So it's just, there are herbs all around us, and Ayurvedic, yes, it
Oh,
comes from India, but that doesn't count, in the United States or in Chattanooga or wherever. Those same practices and principles can be, implanted everywhere, and can help create health in people. So I think
yeah.
it's huge. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks. I really enjoy it, and I can't get away from Ayurveda. It's been 22 years that I've been involved with Ayurveda in some way. So I've worked in the industry for about 7 years, and I created a directory website for Ayurveda, and then I lost a friend to suicide, and decided that, okay, I need to share this information with as many people as possible. So I decided I was going to go to school and study it and become a practitioner. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey, and it's full of so much great information. One thing that was really helpful when I was younger was learning about my body type. So you mentioned the doshas and vata, pitta, and kapha. Well, these three terms, they don't have a translation into English, but what they are sort of groups of qualities in the body, and they relate to the five elements, similar to Chinese medicine. And we all have different ratios. We're all born with different ratios of these qualities within us. So some of us are thinner and naturally drier people, and naturally wide awake, and then some of us have more meat on our bodies, and that's naturally who we are.
Mhm.
So Ayurveda acknowledges that there's no one there's no one way to achieve health, and health looks different for everybody, and people are healthy at they don't have to look the same way to be healthy. We don't all have to be the same weight, and that's healthy. There's really so much variation to what is health for each individual.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's really good stuff.
I love it. I call it bio individuality, because you're right. Everyone is very different. Our histories are different. We're completely made up different. And there is no one way of health or one way of eating or one way of moving that's going to be right for everybody. It is a very individual thing, which is one thing that, I learn every day with not only my personal life, but having three kids and a husband and friends, and, also with my health coaching. And then with That Elderberry Lady, people say, oh, well, I've got this going on. What do I need for this? And I'm like, it could be anything. It really could, because we're all very individual, and what we need will vary from person to person. So
Mhm.
it's so powerful for people to realize that there's not one way for everyone, and that it is a very personalized journey, and you're going to try things that won't work for you that'll work for someone else, and vice versa. And to just have that support of an Ayurvedic practitioner to walk you through that it's huge.
It is, yeah. I found there were many years where I was, doing my own research on Ayurveda and trying to understand, how to balance my own doshas, my own vata, pitta, and kapha, and I really struggled, and with the information that's available online, I felt a little misguided. It wasn't until I started studying Ayurveda with the classical texts with teachers who studied in India, where it's accepted as a medical system there. And there's, in India, there's government hospitals in almost every Indian state. So it's a very different thing over in India. But once I started studying with people who studied in India, I really felt like my health really took off. So it's great stuff.
It's so cool how what you need is in front of you, and you just have to like reach out and get it and make that conscious decision. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. And herbs, like that's my whole thing. That's kind of what started, my healing journey. And, with Ayurvedic medicine, that's a huge part of it. Even though there are so many different herbs, none of us will ever know all of them, and the herbs you use are different from the herbs I use for the most part, because I'm more of a local forager. Like, I like to go walk in the woods, and if I see a plant I like, sometimes I'll bring it home with me, and it lives with me now. But there's also times when I have to order herbs because they just don't grow around here or can't grow around here, and it's not something that I can grow myself or access here locally. So there are so many different herbs, and they all work very differently in each person's body.
Mm-hmm.
And it blows my mind almost on a daily basis. Just when I work with herbs, and they're very powerful, and they work really well within the body because they are a natural substance rather than, a man-made synthetic substance. Our bodies just know what to do with it and what systems need it and where to place it. And it's so cool. And it blows my mind on a daily basis how well herbs are just amazing. They are medicine and they're food, and they're just, and it's stuff that literally grows around you. People just, it's everywhere. It's free.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Free
Yeah.
medicine. Why not?
Free medicine. Yep.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. What I love about the herbs and what I've learned in Ayurveda is that they have many herbs have a certain affinity for different parts of the body. Like coconut has an affinity for the bladder, and certain herbs will have different actions on particular systems of the body. So it is so fascinating how these things work and what they can do. And I get a lot of people, oftentimes I hear people say, well, that doesn't work, right? Or you've probably heard this too, like, herbal remedies don't work. And I've thought about that, like, why, okay, do they not work? And well, there are certain instances when they won't work. And that's when you haven't chosen the right herb or substance for yourself. So in that case, it's not going to work for you. And also, if you're using it at the incorrect time, that's another situation where it may not work. Perhaps you're taking it with food, and it really needs to be taken first thing in the morning to have an effect. It's also, gosh, what other reasons would an herb not work for somebody?
Perhaps some of them aren't absorbed well if they're not taken with a healthy fat or certain things. It's all over the place because there's so many herbs out there. It is a very individualized thing.
Right. And sometimes, perhaps the herb that was chosen is just not strong enough to have a particular action on the individual, because we are all so different. So one person may need something more powerful than another person would. Mm-hmm. So do herbs not work? I was like, well, they may not work in certain situations, but when you choose the right one, it's given at the right time, they can be really powerful.
Absolutely. I have a lot of people that come come to me and, just want me to give them some kind of magical herbal thing to, change all their lives and, just a magic pill, if you will, to change everything. And herbs don't really work like that. They do work for things and can help with different symptoms and kind of realigning things in the body. But if you continue to live a very unhealthy lifestyle with tons of stress that you never address, and you're not sleeping well ever, and you don't make that a priority, you don't have any kind of spiritual practice, like all of these things feed into who you are and your health. Your home environment, how satisfied are you with your career? All of these things feed into your health and are very interconnected. So, if you want to grab an herb that's going to fix all that, I'm sorry, there's not one. But if you want herbs to kind of help you along the way to support you in that healing journey, yes, there's something out there for you. Absolutely. Because I feel like a lot of people are more Western medicine minded. Like, you're sick, you go to the doctor, you get a pill, it's going to fix all your problems, right? Because that's what we're taught. That's how I was raised, So it really is a mind shift of, I'm going to have to take some actions to improve my situation. And yes, I can use herbs to help me along that way and make things easier, that transition a little, simpler for me. But you have to take certain actions for healing as well, not just certain herbs. It's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. You're absolutely correct. And that's what health coaching and Ayurveda is so beneficial for, because we are addressing the whole person and all these different influences from home and relationships and spiritual life and diet and lifestyle and exercise and daily routine. There's so much that goes into that.
So much.
Yeah. And with Ayurveda, there's an interesting space sort of before, and this is the case with health coaching too, I'm sure. There's an understanding of what health is, right? There are clear markers for health in Ayurveda. And then there's also this space before a manifested disease is diagnosed. So in that space, there can be symptoms of ill health or sort of these unknowns of what's going on with my body, and something's not right, but nothing's really quote unquote wrong. So what do you do in that space? And I think this is where health coaching and Ayurveda can be so helpful to people, getting them back to health before something becomes a huge problem.
Absolutely. Most things are preventable. I mean, even Alzheimer's takes around 30 years to develop. And well, before even symptoms are presented. So you have 30 years of, developing Alzheimer's before you even get the first diagnosable symptom of Alzheimer's. And during that 30 years, you're just continuing to do more damage and not working on that healing because you're not aware, of what's going on. I actually just saw just a couple months ago, they came out with a study that they're wanting to reclassify Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes.
Oh, interesting.
It's where the brain doesn't utilize and process the glucose well, and it starts killing off those brain cells because it's overwhelmed because it can't process that glucose that's going to the brain. So they're actually wanting to completely reclassify it as type 3 diabetes now.
Wow, that's really fascinating.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And usually a lot of medical doctors are about 10 to 20 years behind the actual science of it. So it may be a long time before that even comes mainstream and people actually start acknowledging those kinds of things.
Right.
But really, I mean, it all goes back to what are you putting into your body, not only with food and herbs, but also, with feelings and relationships and all kinds of different things. It's all so connected. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, it is. Well, gosh, we've talked about so many wonderful things.
I know. We have.
So what else are you foraging for besides elderberry? Is there something else that's right up there that you love in the Chattanooga area?
There's so many things. So The first herb I ever foraged was mullein. And this was a very long time ago. My husband and I were just dating, and he grew up with asthma. I mean, he had it his entire life. His lungs collapsed at one point. He's had issues with it. And when we first started dating, he had 6 inhalers that he took on a daily basis, which is a lot, and very expensive too. And we moved in together, and we couldn't afford, we were both working part-time, like minimum wage jobs. We couldn't afford all those inhalers and our power one month. So we didn't buy a few of those inhalers, and he was having a lot of tightness in his chest and couldn't breathe. And like, I just was watching him suffer. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do with what I have. What do I have? Nothing. I didn't have anything. I had an internet connection. So I got to looking up, natural remedies for asthma and, improving lung function. And we tried so many different things. Smelling coffee was one that I found. He was like, oh, this doesn't really do anything. And we tried so many things. And I stumbled across a plant called mullein. It's mullein. And it said that it grew here in East Tennessee. And I was like, well, I think I'm gonna try to go find this. So I went out in my yard and started looking around, and lo and behold, right in the corner of my yard was this mullein plant that we had mowed over and weed eated. I don't know how many times, but we weren't able to do that because my husband's asthma, he couldn't get out there to mow or weed eat. Thankfully, it happened for a reason, right? Because that plant was just there, right when we needed it. So I got a few of the leaves, and I made him a really strong tea with it, and I handed it to him, and he was like, absolutely, I'll try anything at this point, because he couldn't breathe. And the first sip, he took just a good, sip of it, and he looked at me and he took a deep breath, and I was like, I could just tell by looking at him that the breath was just reviving for his body, that's really what he wanted. He said, I have not had a breath that deep in over a decade.
That's incredible.
And this is seriously my first interaction with anything herbal. And I was like, oh my God, like seriously, we were so excited that we had found this. And like, I'm getting chill bumps now just talking about it. Because from then on out, it was like, okay, well, what else grows around us that we could use for our benefit? And it's literally spiraled out of control for me, but I'm in control of this chaos. It's my chaos. This past weekend, I actually moved my herbal garden to another spot in our yard so that I could expand it quite a bit. So, I have mullein that grows in my yard still, and I will always have mullein that grows in my yard still for my husband's lung function. He's not on any inhalers, by the way, now. It's great. But I also forage locally for nettle. Stinging nettle leaf is something that I use on a daily basis that's very iron rich. I use it as like a daily multivitamin because it also helps me build energy. It helps with allergy symptoms too. So it's a natural antihistamine, which is really cool, that doesn't cause drowsiness. So that's even better. I actually used nettle for my prenatal vitamins when I was pregnant with my twins, who were both almost 8 pounds when they were born. So very healthy babies.
Wow. Yeah.
So nettle, I love nettle. It's amazing. Another one, I've got skullcap. I actually brought a skullcap plant home with me this summer. I also adopted a yarrow plant this year as well that I found growing in my neighbor's yard that I asked permission, and they allowed me to bring it home with me. The yarrow is great for like any kind of wounds and that kind of stuff. It really helps to like grow the skin back together if you get a deep cut, and helps slow bleeding. So I always have yarrow at my disposal. Lemon balm is another one that I absolutely love because it's like kid safe. My kids will go out and just like grab a stem and chew on it while we're playing in the yard. And we've used that for like hand, foot, and mouth and all kinds of different things. They throw it in their bath water. It's very kid friendly and very relaxing too. There's tons of herbs out there that I just like, I'll go and just find things and I'll look it up and find, you're coming home with me today because that's it's been really cool. Catnip is another one that I started growing myself this year that I've really enjoyed. Marshmallow, the marshmallow plant's one of my favorites. just because it's super tasty and the pollinators love it too. So it helps my garden out
Oh,
as
wonderful.
well. But the roots of it is what they originally used to make marshmallows from. It has that really unique marshmallow flavor. Now marshmallows are made with like corn syrup and sugar and preservatives and things. But back in the day, it was actually came from a marshmallow plant, which is really cool.
Interesting.
So I'm more of, I guess I would say, a folk herbalist. I
Uh-huh.
just use the things that grow around me. Goldenrod's a huge one right now for ragweed allergies.
Okay.
And that's something that we actually foraged and collected a lot this weekend. Me and my kids is goldenrod because we worked outside a lot and we have ragweed allergies. So we made sure to grab some goldenrod and bring it in and make us a nice tea before we went to bed to kind of help with sleep and reduce the symptoms from ragweed because it's crazy right now here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm from New Hampshire originally, so moving down here to Chattanooga, I've been here about 5 years. Just the long hot summer and the long growing season is just incredible. And
It's amazing.
one thing I noticed in the environment is just how strong and hardy the rosemary bushes are down here. They're really incredible. And I've been using and looking into rosemary and its benefits as a fever reducer, which is really incredible. And my husband is actually using rosemary quite a bit. We're also using green tea on the regular for its bitter taste. The bitter taste helps with kapha type symptoms and pitta type symptoms, so itchiness and an excess of heat in the body. It's very cooling and cleansing. And then we're also using things that come out of the spice cabinet quite a bit, like cumin and cardamom and cloves. Cardamom and cloves are also both cooling, and cumin is great for increasing the appetite when it's low. So those are some of the things that we reach for pretty regularly.
Absolutely. And it is so cool that spices and things like that I use as herbal medicine too, and that can really be interchanged and used together too with herbs in our foods that we eat. It doesn't have to be a cup of tea all the time. We throw nettle leaves in soups when we make soups, and it really is. You can eat your medicine. You can. And it doesn't have to be this huge complicated thing. It can be something very simple as grabbing some leaves and throwing it in soup or making tea if you prefer. A lot of things that are in your spice cabinet can be medicine too. So it's pretty amazing, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I just encourage people to start doing research on herbs, seeing what they have in their spice cabinet or that just grows in their yard that they can use for different things. And usually that gets people started on a path of, okay, what else is out there? Right.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Gosh, what else do I want to ask you? Your health coach clients, what are they coming to you for? What kinds of conditions do they have that you're helping them with?
Yeah, so it's really all across the spectrum. When I first became a health coach, my original intention and goal was to help families with special needs children, because I have one of my twins is autistic, and a lot of the times when one family member has those special needs, everyone else's health is put on the back burner. So that was my original intent of being a health coach, was to help families with special needs children just overall be healthier. And I do have several clients that I help with things like that, but I've had, anywhere from like people that want to have some weight loss or increase energy, to people with digestive distress and thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, those kinds of things, or just people that want to just be healthier and that need that extra support and extra accountability, or to have someone there to just answer those general questions of, okay, are fats good? What kind of fats are good? What should I eat? And there's no one size fits all answer for that. So it really is a journey of exploration, that I don't necessarily lead them on that journey. They're always the leader. I call myself more of a guide on the side, kind of like a soccer coach would be. I can, make a plan and practice with people, but they're going to be the ones out there, playing the game and doing the work. So I really try to keep everything very open, and just make a really safe space for people to come to me with problems and issues that, I can support them with, and just give them more information on things. And then, most people just take that information and run with it. So I have people that are very like natural minded come to me, and then people that are not, and it's everywhere in between. And it's so special for me to be able to see people's health journey, and to be there with them for support and accountability, and to be just cheering them on, because a lot of people need that. I wish I had that.
I know. In my experience with Ayurveda and what I've seen in working with people is that it can't be like one session with somebody. You can't complete everything, and there's often so many questions. It's so much guidance is needed, and you do need somebody there to say you're going in the right direction, or hey, wait a minute, you need to switch directions and go this way now. So yeah, so I work with clients in a program format, so I can see them, so that they commit to a journey, and I can see them over a period of time, to ensure that they've got the support that they need right there, so that they get the personalized attention, but they also get the support, the underlying support and guidance. And it is like, it's such a journey to change your health and to restore health. My clients are mostly women. They are experiencing digestive issues, IBS, chronic constipation, women's health issues, fibromyalgia, problems with the menstrual cycle, all kinds of things, the production of cysts. And it's really wonderful to see people's health start to turn around. I have one client currently that has been on laxatives for about 20 years with laxatives, and she's finally stopped that this past week. So she's had 1 week of yes, right. Yeah, no laxatives, normal bowel movements once a day at least. And yeah, it's wonderful to see those kinds of things happening.
That's so powerful. And the program structure of healing, I feel like is so much better for people. And I use an analogy with some of the people that I do consults with, because they're like, just tell me what to do and I'll get out of your hair. And we don't have to take months for this. And I'll tell people, okay, if you like went into my husband's garage and there's this huge toolbox there with all these tools that you've never seen, and I told you, okay, this is how all of these work, go. And you would try to grab all the tools at once and try to use them, and you wouldn't know what to do. And it would be very stressful and overwhelming.
Yep.
And it's the same way with going on this health journey. You can't just use all these tools at once. That's not practical, and it's not sustainable. To take those small steps at a time, me give you a little more information, and put these things into practice, 1, 2, or 3 things at a time, makes it sustainable for long-term use, right? So the program structure, I'm totally behind you on that, because that really does give people the support that's not overwhelming, and really gives you time to teach them the tools that they need to use to be healthy, because they're going to be the ones doing the work and using those tools, but we need time to teach those tools. So it's very powerful, the program structure is.
Yeah. Also, when you do things simply with 1 or 2 things at a time, you can really tell what's working, right? You make one change, or you try one herbal product. Okay, how did I respond to that? When you've got so many things in the fire, and you experience some change, you're like, well, I don't really know what caused that to happen.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. People just really need to pay attention to their bodies. And if their bodies are telling you, hey, I need something, if something's out of whack, that's a red flag of, hey, you may need to pay attention to this before something worse starts going on, and to really have somebody there to be supportive of you listening to your body, which is not something that most doctors are really in tune with yet. Hopefully they will be soon. Is really powerful to just have somebody there and say, hey, you might be right about this. Let's explore this further. Try different things to see if it can benefit what you're experiencing right now.
With one question going way back to your elderberry products, is the elderberry something that you take on a daily basis, and is it seasonal as well?
I have clients that take it in many different ways. So my family, we take it daily at this point. It's very high in fiber. It's got good honey in it. We also, several years ago, when we first started using it, I only used it during like cold and flu season until one year we got the flu in June, at the end of June, which was anyway. So we take it year round now. And the more that we take it year round, the more I see the benefit of that. But I do have, customers and clients that use it only during cold and flu season, or only when they're exposed to something, or only when they're actively sick. It's, I'm not going to tell people what to do with it because technically I can't. But for my family, we made the conscious decision that it would be best for our health if we all took it year round. And we continue to do that. And we've seen nothing but great things with it. So
yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I love your perspective and your attitude towards health and what you're doing. And you have all that integrity in your life, and then sharing it with others in your business. So it's just so nice to see. If you could share one tidbit, one health tip with people, what would that one thing be? If you could only give them one thing.
That's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So, oh man, there's so many things out there. Should it be herbal based or not? I don't know. So one thing that's super simple that anybody can do without any money, it takes nothing but just a few minutes of your day, is to get some good morning sun every morning. This resets your circadian rhythm and really gets your body into the wake mode for the day. And then really watch your blue light at night. So wear blue light blocking glasses if you're going to be on the computer, your phone, or watching TV after the sun goes down, because a lot of the times that will keep us up later, and that will improve your sleep, which will then improve your overall health in many aspects of your life. So I know that's not just one thing, that's really two things wrapped into one, but that's as close as I can get to one.
Yeah, those are fantastic tips, and really, really helpful for everybody. We all need that reminder, especially in the age of COVID, where we've got so much going on the computers now, on the screens. It's so important to watch that at night. And then getting that morning sun is very powerful too.
It is. And it costs no money.
Right. Yeah. I would encourage people to cook more for yourself at home.
Absolutely.
And even if it's just one more day of cooking, to just preparing your own food does so much for your health. And there's so many ways to learn about cooking. We have so many resources at our fingertips. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's great to start simply with simple things like learn how to cook rice, or learn how to cook oats, or to pick one grain and master it, pick one recipe and master it, and then you can sort of alter it to make it more of something that meets your own needs and tastes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Chia seed pudding is something that I suggest my clients start with, because it's super simple. You just mix something and set it in the refrigerator overnight, and then you can just eat on it. And it's very high in omega-3s, and you can add honey and fruit and granola and things to it or not. But it is just super simple and very like protein packed and filling for a good breakfast. So that's just making things for yourself is very, I totally agree with that. We try to make most of our food at home. We try to grow most of our food at home as well. And my one autistic son, he is very sensitive to most preservatives. So even things like citric acid, and I mean, that's in everything, right? So we try to cook most of our food at home. And then even like most vitamins and supplements have citric acid and things in it too. So we try to get everything, from the earth as much as we can.
That's wonderful.
That's huge for cooking at home. Is an awesome first step for people. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I so enjoyed talking to you.
I have too.
Yeah.
You're a beautiful person inside and out, and I can
you're
just
sweet.
I feel your soul, and that you're really here to really help people and make a change in our community. And I love that, because we're going to need all the help we can get.
It's true. Yeah, we do need all the help. We need to help each other.
Yeah.
So if people are looking for you, where can they find you, and how do they sign up for your health coaching?
Yeah, so probably, well, I have several websites because I have a lot of different layers. If you're looking for herbal products, you can grab those at thatelderberrylady.com. I also have a blog there that has some information on herbal things and my journey. My health coaching side of things, you would need to contact me directly. So my email address is amanda@thatelderberrylady.com. And then I can send you a link and you can sign up for a free consultation. I always do consultations free. That way, we can see if we're going to be a good fit, because I may not be the best fit for you. It may be someone like you, Jennifer, that would be a better fit, So I always offer free consultations and things like that. And just general support. I mean, I've been blowing up my Facebook page with things, just trying to get more people to realize that they're in charge of their own health. And, there are small things that you can do just to start improving that. It's a journey. Take the first step.
Take the first step. Yeah, you're right. Yep. So I also offer a free 30-minute consultation online, and you can sign up for that at ChattanoogaAyurveda.com. It's AYURVEDA.com. And yeah, it's just a way to figure out if Ayurveda can help your condition, and what can be done if you're ready to take the next step, or if we are a good fit to work together. So yeah,
I love it. So cool.
Yeah,
it's been awesome talking to you.
You too. Yeah, I appreciate your time, and I hope we get to talk again soon.
Here's hoping. Let's make a point to do it.
Okay, I like that. Okay, have a wonderful day, Amanda.
I will. You too. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.